Hey everybody, welcome to another YouTube channel of Life Leadership and the Pursuit of Greatness. I'm your host, Tim Lovell. I'm along with my good friend,
Dwayne Mathis.
Good to have you in with us today. We're going to be talking about episode 37, our episode with Coach Frank Howell from Central Decatur High School. He's the women's basketball coach there, and we're going to dive into some things that we really thought he brought really strong to the table as a leader. He's a really passionate guy, and you wouldn't see it necessarily in the way that he comes across talking to you, but boy, you can hear it and you can feel it. And talking to people that know him, Dwayne, holy smokes, he's got it going on.
Yeah, I'm probably the last person to talk to on this because I'm pretty biased when it comes to Frank, spending a lot of time with him during my time when I was student teaching. But he is charismatic. It's personality. Students flock to him, even students that aren't his athletes. Are just drawn to him, and his personality plays a big part into that. And the fact that, ultimately it just comes down to, he just cares about his students, whether they're basketball players of his or not. And, I think he's just a really genuine guy. And that's what, really draws students to him.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's really interesting before we dive in anymore. I think we need to help people understand why they're tuning in. And it's because they want to be a better leader, right? Life Leadership and the Pursuit of Greatness is here to help every single person be a better leader at what they do. Dwayne and I are high school football coaches and teachers, but this is not limited to just that conversation. Anything we're talking about, you can apply to anything in the rest of your life. So stick around. We know that you're going to be better when you leave here. Today, with our episode, we talked about number 37 with Frank Howell. We're going to talk about his idea of leadership, what he defines as his non-negotiables, and really how to create that work-life balance. Things that I think are really important as we dive into the topic of leadership. So that being said, I think it's important for you also to know that our message is being heard, Dwayne, right?
Absolutely. I mean, when you look at, who's tuning into, Life Lead, Pursuit of Greatness podcast, it's nice to see that, 90% of the United States is tuning in. We're in over 40 states here in the United States that have tuned into us all over. And then we also, going international, it helps when you have an international guest on, but there have been 10 countries across the globe that have tuned in as well. And, if you, right behind my shoulder, you can, get all our contact information. You can, our social media, if you want to send us an email, follow Tim and I on Twitter. There's our handles up there at Coach @Coach_Mathis, and then at Coach Level. And then, of course, our Life Lead at Life Lead PG for our Twitter, and Instagram as well. It's the same for both. So, give us a follow on there. If you want to send us an email, you have a question. We've had people reach out and send direct messages and emails, and we love hearing from our fans. And, one of the questions that we asked, dove a little deeper with Coach Howell was a listener question.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And that ties into what we want to talk about is, as a leader, how do you create that work-life balance? What are the things that he took away that he does?
Yeah. Well, I think, one of the things that Frank, kind of admitted was the reason that, he's probably was a little bit blessed, you could probably say, is that he got married later in life and he had children later in life. And so, when he was really, working those long hours is when he was single. And he didn't have to balance his life so much. But, I think, the big points was that, he understands where his anchor is, and that's at home with his wife and his children. And, when he's there, he just tries to be present. And he talks about, something that, again, we've mentioned, and it seems to be a recurring theme amongst, our guests, is that he's just going to be present where he's at that moment in time.
Right. Yeah. I thought it was really poignant when he said, I wash the dishes for my wife.
Yeah.
Because I want her to know that I care and that she matters.
Yeah.
And that seems like
such a minuscule thing, right? And but he's like, I'm gonna make that time to wash the dishes, just because regardless of what I'm doing in my life, he's like, I'm gonna wash those dishes. And he goes, if you want to have a successful marriage, gentlemen, wash the dishes.
Yeah, and that will go for a female coach as well, right? I mean, it doesn't, flipping the script either way. So I thought the other thing that he did really well is he mentioned how he delegates. If he's got somebody that feels really passionate about something, he's going to let that coach or that staff member roll with it, and he's going to let some of that stuff come off his shoulders and onto somebody else.
But something that I thought was really telling is an earlier Coach Howell maybe wasn't so willing to delegate those things. I mean, and that shows his growth and how he's evolved as a coach, and how he's kind of let the harnesses go a little bit and the grip on his program, and that also goes into his staff development.
Yeah, that's amazing, and you can see it. The success he had in high school, and now he's taken over another program out, Southwest Iowa out there, Central Decatur. So, so what did he define leadership as? We know that having a mindset in terms of work-life balance is important, but he gave a really interesting definition of leadership.
Yeah, it was just 3 simple things, right? And his definition, he's like, play hard, play together, and play smart. Those were his 3 things of his definition of leadership. And, sometimes I think us coaches kind of get wrapped around the axle trying to create, the new wheel, when it doesn't necessarily have to be something, that's going to, shake you to your core, once you read it. I mean, if you listen to those 3 things that he says, I mean, they're pretty simple things, pretty straightforward.
And he stole them from one of the great coaches of all time,
Yeah.
Dean Smith.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for coaches to understand that really great coaches are thieves. I mean, like to your point, don't reinvent the wheel.
Right.
But it also comes from understanding that you don't have to do that, right? You don't have to totally change, do things completely different. There are patterns, and there are things that other people have done that you can follow and mimic.
Well, Tim, you've said it before on our podcast. A lot of the times, you're standing on the shoulders of giants, right?
Yes, for sure.
People have laid that foundation out there. Why, don't be foolish. The blueprint for success is out there, depending on, whatever model you want to follow. And Dean Smith obviously had tons of success at North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah. I also had some good players, Michael Jordan, James Worthy,
But yeah, I think it totally speaks to understanding and being willing to admit that you don't have to have all the answers either.
Right. Humility, right?
Absolutely. You got to have humility. And like the Focus 3 shirt I got here, Embrace the Chase, right? They talk about having a strong ego versus a big ego. And I think Frank is a great example of having a strong ego. He's comfortable in who he is. He doesn't have to show off. And you saw him teach, and you saw how he acted, right? Can you talk about that?
No, he just, he controls the classroom in a way that's not demeaning of students, doesn't, not by fear, but, he just keeps students kind of hanging on the edge of, what's he going to say next? Because he'll keep, students, he'll just say something off the wall, in the sense of, one of my favorite things that I've stolen from him, just because I think it's funny and it just makes me kind of chuckle, kind of an inside joke that I tell myself, is, the bell would ring and he'd tell students, have a great day, make the best of your day, and watch out for the deer. Watch out for the deer. Where's that coming from? But and every time, the first, because I was there at the start of the school year, and
I'm like, what?
Students, but then, the 5th or 6th time he said it, then the students just kind of shake their heads and chuckle, kind of deal. And he was comfortable with that. And if he knew they were laughing at him, he didn't take it personal. And that's, or doing wall sits in the hallway with kids. Yeah, absolutely. Not even his basketball players, he'd be like, right. He'd just grab someone or, hey, come on, grab a spot on the wall. And next thing you know, you'd have like 6 or 7 students that, would do a 30-second wall sit, and then they'd be like, all right, I got to get to class, I'm going to be late. And they'd be hustling down the hall.
And the other thing I think we wanted people to understand, that he feels that his job as a coach is to maximize potential. Mm-hmm. So you got to have the mindset around the work-life balance. You got to have the non-negotiables on the leadership side, play hard, play smart, play together, but you got to maximize potential. And I thought that was a really interesting take and definition for how he viewed himself.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things, and I don't know where Frank got his numbers from, if it was from, a Dean Smith thing or what, but he always said, players can get 10% better with a good coach, but with a bad coach, they're going to get 30% worse. And, so I think those are interesting numbers. I think there is some truth into it. I don't know how you statistically put a value on it, but I'll defer to his knowledge in that case.
Yeah. He's been around, done a little bit longer than you and I have.
Yeah.
But I think what he's speaking to is really the power that we have to influence, and I think more in a negative way if we don't do things the right way.
Absolutely. 100% there.
Yeah. It was a great episode. Am I missing anything here, Coach?
I don't think so. I mean, I think one of the last thing that, we touched on is, I think he provides a lot of great insight, and his definition of leadership, the work balance life. And then, when he talks about maximizing potential. So, I just highly suggest everyone tune in and listen to Frank Howell. I have no doubt that he's going to have a ton of success down at Central Decatur.
Yeah, and that's episode 37 on the Life Leadership Pursuit of Greatness podcast. Really encourage you to tune in, and we encourage you to subscribe to this YouTube channel if you like what you're hearing. We're going to keep pushing updates out. We have our next guest coming up. Episode 38 is a review of Kurt Earl. He's the head football coach at Lincoln Christian in Nebraska. Phenomenal AD, phenomenal story. He talks about 7 levels of motivation, and that's what we're going to be talking about in the next episode. You're going to not want to miss that, because if you can get to the heart of the issue, you're going to be much further ahead. So thanks for tuning in today. Again, check out Life Leadership Pursuit of Greatness. Check into us every Sunday. You'll have an update for what we talk about. And let's keep chasing life, leadership, and the pursuit of greatness in all that we do. Have a great rest of your day.